Shalom. This is the brother Ataza Wamya from GMS South Carolina camp, or from GMS South or GMS Charlotte 7, and from GMS Rooted and Built Up 4. All right. I want to start off first and foremost giving all praises to Yahweh Shemal Shai. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, taught me this truth. And shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the truth and sincerity. Alright, today's lesson is I'm still doing a continuous series proving that the Latinos and Native Americans make up the lost 10 tribes of the Northern Kingdom, known as the Kingdom of Israel, that went into captivity under the Assyrians when you read in 2 Kings chapter 17. Okay, now this is linking it up with the scriptures, with historical proof from Spaniards and explorers that came over here and encountered the Native Americans and the Latinos of North, Central, and South America and the Caribbean Isles, and noticed noticed that they were keeping the customs of the Israelites, and that through the conclusion of the evidence that these explorers saw the people doing, and their knowledge of the scriptures, they came to the conclusion that these have to be the lost tribes of Israel. Okay, so I'm just going to go in today, focus more on the tribe of Issachar, which is the so-called Mexicans. Okay, tribe of Issachar, which are you Mexicans? All right, and prove using the scriptures and some excerpts from this site, which I'm going to put the link, proving the lost tribes of Israel, that the so-called Mexicans are one of the tribes of the children of Israel. Okay, start out reading this top part. Now I'm hot to the point. It says, according to the Bible, the Assyrian conquest of over 2,700 years ago caused 10 of the original 12 tribes of the ancient Israel to have been exiled, and in the eyes of history to have become lost. Because after you read after 2 Kings chapter 17, after you read that, there's really no more mention in the history of the Northern Kingdom, unless you have the Apocrypha, which is part of the 1611 King James edition canon, that you will read in 2nd Ezra chapter 13 verses 40 through 46, that the 10 tribes left from the eastern hemisphere and came over here to the western hemisphere, proving that they are the Israelites, you Latinos and so-called Latinos and Native Americans of North, Central, and South America and the Caribbean Isles. Okay, and this is going to prove it. The accounts of these people's these explorers and friars and people who had knowledge of the scriptures, when they encounter and interact and follow the customs of the indigenous people of North, Central, South America and the Caribbean Isles, they came to the conclusion that these have to be the 10 tribes. It says the places to where they ultimately journeyed are open questions and represented the theme of this website. Significant evidence will be presented on this page to show that centuries before Columbus, a portion of the tribes migrated to and populate regions now known as Mexico, which we're going to focus in, Mexico, Peru, Guatemala, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, Brazil, Nicaragua, the United States, Canada, and their neighboring areas. This site recognized that there are many other areas of the world that have been ably possible as likely destinations of the lost tribes. Indeed, certain nations in Africa, Asia, and Europe are among them. It should be noted that the lost tribes info stands not to be refuted these propositions, but rather to complement them. After all, the Lord said in Isaiah 27:6, "In the days to come, Jacob will put out shoots, Israel will bud and blossom and fill the whole world with fruit." Although information from more than one source appears, the contents of most of this site is composed entirely of excerpts from a multi-volume 19th century work by British scholar Lord Kingsborough, Antiquities of Mexico, the volume and page of which are noted after each excerpt. The authors spent years researching the records of Europe's first visitors to the New World, as his compilation of logs is deep and thorough. Okay, it should be noted that many compositions of native people's customs, etc., to Jewish people's customs. When it's saying it's Jewish, it's not talking about those so-called Jews over there in the land of Israel that call themselves Israelis. Those aren't the real Jews. It's talking about the real Jews according to the Bible, which are you so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians. Okay, Judah, so-called Negroes; Benjamin, the so-called West Indians; and Levi, the so-called Haitians. Okay, it's comparing them to that. People's customs, etc., were were made within the framework of Kingsborough's own perception. Perceptive and form that of a highly authoritative sources whom he has quoted. Therefore, the multiple similarities he and his sources have observed may not have been exclusively to the customs, etc., of the one tribe of Israel, Judah, with which they would have been familiar. Rather, the uh, analogues they describe may have unknowingly been to the collective tribe, since the perceptible would have been a discernible closeness in their traits. It will follow then that the word Israelite could justifiably be substituted for the word Jewish in the writings. Either way, however, whether the human characteristics depicted are attributed to the tribe of Judah or to the entire 12 tribes Israelites, the likeness to inhabitant of the New World is unmistakable. Okay, so let me hop to the point where I was going to go to. All right, because it's many excerpts on here. All right, that's go in depth, and Lord willing, if I have time, I might do go in on different points, but today I'm just going to focus on this one excerpt right here about the Mexicans. It says the Mexicans in their dress, okay, and in their domestic economy of their houses, which had flat roofs or trenches like those of the Jews, and in their mode of receiving guests and saluting strangers, in their respect for the old rising up on their apparent approach, and in the pains which they bestowed on the education of their children, strongly remind us of the Jews. Okay, now let's start right here. The Mexicans and their dress. Now, what most people know about the Mexicans, they got something called a poncho, which has, if you notice, see if I can zoom in some. Yeah, there we go. If you notice, it has fringes on the bottom, okay, which was a custom of the Israelites. So let's prove that real quick. Oh, here's another picture of one. This is the kind of poncho that they usually wear in Peru, okay, among the Asherites. And notice it has fringes at the end, okay. That's a beautiful garment. Alright, so let's go into that real quick. Prove that's the custom of Israel. Okay, this is Numbers chapter 15 verse 32. It says, "And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day." Now this is going into the history when the children of Israel was making their journey from Egypt, Exodus out of Egypt, to the land of Canaan. Okay, so this man, he was basically working on the Sabbath day. "And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him in ward because it was not declared what should be done to him. And the Lord said unto Moses, The man should be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses." And when you see the Lord in capital letters, in the Hebrew his name is Yahweh, because the natives, or the Latinos and Native Americans, they spoke Hebrew, different dialects of Hebrew. Okay, but in the pure language, his name is Yahweh. Okay, and the Lord, or Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, "Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue, and it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring, that ye may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy unto your power. I am Yahweh, your power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, to be your God. I am Yahweh, your power." So the Israelites were commanded, to wear fringes on the border of their garments. Okay. Alright. This is Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 12. It says, "Thou shalt make thee fringes upon the four corners of thy vesture, wherewith thou coverest thyself." So the only people that kept the custom of wearing fringes, or were commanded to, were Israelites. And that's two examples. This is a Peruvian garment, which the Peruvians are Israelites. Alright, those of the indigenous descent. Alright, they'll be of the tribe of Asher. Okay, because Asher is from Brazilians to Colombian to Uruguayans, which Peru is in that portion. Alright, and they're of the tribe of Asher. And Issachar, the so-called Mexicans, wore garments with fringes. Okay, like it's shown in this photo right here. Okay, so it says the Mexicans in their dress strongly remind us of the Jews, because the Jews, which the Jews is one of the tribes of Israel, they wore the fringes on their garments, just like the Mexicans. Okay, so that's one evident proof that the so-called Mexicans are Israelites, in their dress and their domestic economy of their house, which had flat roofs or trenches like those of the Jews. Okay, see what the law said about how your house is supposed to be built. Alright, this is Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 8. It says, "When thou buildest a new house, then thou shalt make a battlement for thy roof, that thou bring not blood upon thine house, if any man fall from thence. Okay, now let's look at that word up, battlement, and the blue letter